After explaining to Ash what mega evolution is, he would hand Ash back the keystones and would say, I think you should have these for safekeeping. After that, Ash would ask him, anyway, now that I've become champion, what should I do now? Professor Birch would think for a moment and would say, Ash, do you think you've achieved your goal of becoming a Pokemon Master yet? And Ash would reply, no, I don't feel like it. Then he said, I think you should begin travelling more. And I should say, where? Birch would think a bit, and then he would say, oh, I know the perfect region for you. I'm going to take you to the region of which houses the leading authority of Pokemon research and my mentor, Professor Oak. I should be like, you're going to get me a ride to the Kanto region? I should say, wow, Kanto? That's like the most prestigious region of all time. It's a region which first discovered Pokemon. Thank you, Professor Birch. And then Ash would then go to his mum's house and would say, Mum, I'm going to Kanto. I'm going to continue my adventure throughout the world. And then he would say, oh, Kanto, you're going there. When I was a little girl, I went to Kanto a lot and I learnt under Professor Oak. He was a good friend of mine and he still is today. But Ash, I've got a gift for you this time. Your current clothes are all muddy and dirty from all the running around and adventures you've been doing. So let me present you with some new ones. So basically, Delia would dress her son up in new clothes that she found that she bought in a new mall for clothes. Yeah, basically. After that, I should go to Professor Birch and would say, alright, I'm ready to go, but I need to do something first. And he would then leave all of his Pokemon except Aggron behind. He would then take a plane to the Kanto region, where he would make his way to Pallet Town, apparently where Pokemon research truly began. He would begin searching around the area, looking to see for where the lab is, until he'd see a massive building with a windmill on top. He would say, wow, that looks like a massive building. That might be the lab. They would quickly rush into it. He would then see Professor Oak with two starter Pokemon, a Charmander and a Squirtle. The reason why Bulbasaur isn't present is because that Bulbasaur was given to youngster Jonathan. So basically, Professor Oak would be doing some research until he heard a door slam and he would see Ash standing there and he would say, oh, hello. I've been expecting you, young man. Are you the one that Professor Birch sent from Hoenn, the new champion? And I should say, yes, I am. So you are the prestigious Professor Oak, huh? My mom told me a lot about you, same with my professor. Anyway, I've been sent here to meet you and have an adventure in the Kanto region. But now that I've met you, now I'm going to take my leave. But as Ash was taking his leave, he would notice a very hot presence following him from behind. he would notice that the Charmander had taken a liking to him and would be following him. He would turn around and he would say, why is Charmander following me? And then Professor Oak would say, it feels something inside you that it likes. That's why it's following you. So I think you should take this Pokemon. I should say, no. I already have one. I don't need this one. But Charmander would be like, Charmander. And it would like beg. It would make this cute expression. And I should say, alright, I'm going to take you, buddy. And he would ask for the Pokeball. And he would add Charmander to his team. But then, hearing all the commotion, Ash would see a boy running down the stairs with a spiky hairstyle quite similar to Oak's. Would say, wait, are you Ash, the champion of the Hoenn region? I would say, yes I am. I would say, oh hello, I'm Gary Oak, and I am your biggest fan. So basically, in this timeline, Gary wouldn't have went on his journey, and he would have stayed home, basically, because he was intrigued in Ash's journey, and he was intrigued in seeing a new champion arise, and Ash was basically his hero. So, in this timeline, he would have stayed home and not gone on an adventure. So he would say, oh wow, I've always wanted to meet you. You've always been my biggest inspiration. I should say, oh, alright. Being confused that all of a sudden he's a celebrity because he won a few championships. Because he just became a champion. And then Gary would say, oh wow, look at this cute Squirtle. It looks amazing. I'm going to raise it to be a strong and powerful Blastoise, which will defeat you in battle someday, Ash. And then Ash would say, okay. Gary would then receive his Squirtle. And then as Ash would be leaving, he would say, Ash, I challenge you to a battle. I want to see how strong you are. I want to battle your strongest Pokemon. And Ash would then say, wow. I can't battle you with Aggron. It's too strong for you. And then the guy would say, oh, you got to be kidding me. But then Ash would see how disappointed Gary was and would decide that he was going to use Charmander to battle against Squirtle. And he would say, alright, let's go Charmander. As Gary would be shocked, but still excited. He would say, oh, so you've decided to battle me, not with a Charmander. Anyway, prepared to have the battle of your life. And I should say, I'm prepared. So basically, what would happen is that Charmander will keep using flamethrowers and fire spins, which would do decent damage to Squirtle. But then, Squirtle will keep firing back with skull bashes and water guns, which would do a lot of damage. But after a close back and forth, both Pokemon were tired, and then it would end in a clash between Flamethrower and Water Gun. The attacks would be even at first, but then Gary and Squirtle will begin to notice that Charmander was tiring out because he had used more moves than Squirtle. Gary would take advantage of this and would command Squirtle to use even more water, which would basically put out the remaining flames and would absolutely obliterate Charmander. Gary would then say, oh wow, I beat you. I beat Ash. I beat the champion of Hoenn. Yes. But then Gary would say, wow, it doesn't feel as satisfying as I thought it would be. I guess it's because I didn't beat one of the Pokemon that you used against the Hoenn League. But next time when I see you, I'm going to have a battle with you, Ash. And I'm going to beat you for real. I'm going to beat one of your real Pokemon. Of the Pokemon that you've had since Hoenn. And then he would walk out victorious with Squirtle. After that, Professor Oak would come and say, wow, it's been a long time since Gary has ever looked at somebody other than me with such respect. I guess it's because of your status being the champion. And then I should say, he reminds me of a rival I used to have. That energy, that drive to become strong. But he's not as cocky as my rival. And then Russell could say, okay, but be careful. Because he could give you a run for your money soon if you're not careful, Ash. I should say, alright, we'll see. After that brief exchange, Ash would make his way outside and he would discover a Pidgey grazing in the grass, eating some worms and stuff like that. And some grass. Noticing that, Ash would send out Charmander. Charmander would battle the Pidgey. And it would burn Pidgey. And then Ash would quickly throw a Pokeball, adding the weakened flying type to his team. After that, he would make his way to Viridian City, where he would heal his Pokemon. He would then make his way to Viridian Forest, where he would explore the area. And then he would see a Weedle. Since Misty wasn't there to point out, since nobody was there to point out any other Pokemon, he would just catch Weedle with his Pidgey. And then, but in the battle, Weedle would evolve since it was trying to resist Pidgey's constant gusts. But still, the evolution wouldn't make a difference, and Pidgey would catch it. After that, Ash would notice the samurai there. He would say, "Oh, you're Ash, right? The champion of Hoenn?" And Ash would say, "Yeah, I guess now these days everybody knows who I am." And then samurai would say, "I want to battle you. I want to prove how strong I am." And Ash would then say, "Alright, let's go. Go Metapod!" And Ash would send out his Kakuna. This would be a battle of hardens. But then Ash, realizing that this would go on forever, would command for a flurry of poison Oh my god, what's happening to my voice today? A flurry of poison stings, which would knock out Metapod. After that, Samurai would send out his Pinsir. Pinsir would be doing some decent damage against Kakuna, since it would be an offensive type Pokemon. But Kakuna would be working hard. But in the distance, Kakuna would see a Beedrill. It would see it flying around. And then, in the middle of the fight, Kakuna will be inspired to be as strong as that Beedrill and to beat Pinsir. And it would then evolve into Beedrill itself. And it would learn Poison Jab and Fury Attack. It would use a combination of the two moves to finish off Pinsir and win Ash the battle. Samurai would then come and say, "Wow," and expect nothing less from Hoenn's champion, as he would then go on to leave the area. Ash would then go on to walk through the Viridian Forest until he'd see a blue blur, jump. He would, and he would say, hey Broly, hey Brawly, it's you. And then Broly would stand there and say, hello Ash, it's been a while. You know, yeah, after I finished my training in Johto, I decided that I wanted to go and and basically find you. Yeah, so basically, after you finish the journeys, the reason why I left so suddenly was because I decided that I wanted to go and train with Chuck to become a better fighting type trainer. And after I finished, I decided that I wanted to come and find out where you went after I saw on TV that you became champion. So basically, I went all the way to Little Root. I asked your mom and Professor Birch what happened, and they told me where you were and what happened. So I took a plane here, left behind most of my Pokemon, and came here. Then Ash would ask, hey, where's Flannery? And then Ronnie would explain that Flannery had to do something. She decided that she needed to become stronger if she truly wanted to become gym leader. And she decided that she had done enough traveling for a bit, and she was gonna go train under her dad a bit and be a gym leader for a while, and then she might begin traveling again. Since her dad was getting older and weaker, and he was and in a short amount of time he wouldn't have been able to be a gym leader anymore. So Flannery had to kind of take the responsibility. Ash would understand and would say, alright, now that I have you, Brawly, thank God I'm not going to have to go and buy food to get by, since you're a great cook. And I'd say, yeah. After that, they'll make their way to Pewter City. The two friends would be catching up on what happened since they were separated. But shortly after healing each other's Pokemon, Ash would rush into the Pewter Gym, where he would see Flint instead of Brock. The reason, you might ask, for why Flint is here instead of his son, yeah? But my answer and reason for that is because Brock, he had been a gym leader for a long time, and I believe that eventually Flint would have manned up and decided to go and look after his family and would tell his son to pursue his dreams after a while. So yeah, that's what I think. Because in the original anime, he showed shame that he couldn't stand around. It looked like that soon he was going to get the courage to go and tell his son to do what he wants in life and take responsibility for his children. So basically, Ash would decide that he wants to give Charmander some more experience and would instead, by following the wise choice by using Aggron, would decide that Aggron is too strong. Unlike in Johto, he would want to use it as little as possible to develop all the other team members. So basically, Charmander will put up a very good fight with flamethrowers and fire spins going all over the field. But when Graveler got burned, it would evolve into Golem. And from then on, it would just be game over, as Golem would just use one rollout and Charmander was out. After that, Flip would say, wow, so you're the champion of Hoenn, huh? I expected much more from a champion than just using a Charmander that doesn't even know a move that has a type advantage against a rock and ground type. Maybe try next time teaching your Charmander a steel type move or a fighting type move if you want to stand a chance against me. Ash would then go and he would ask Brawly to teach Charmander a fighting type move, since even though Charmander learns Metal Claw in Gen 3, and this is in a way the third generation for this story, the idea of a fighting type move would excite Charmander more, so they would be learning a fighting type move, and fighting type moves would be more accessible. So basically, they would try to teach Charmander a number of fighting type moves, but it wouldn't work. Then Brawly would decide to use a move that both him and Ash had learned back in Hoenn from basically a karate master. Basically, they would try and teach Charmander how to use Dynamic Punch. Charmander's fist would begin to have some sort of aura, like some fighting energy, which would show that it can learn the move, but Charmander wasn't yet strong enough to use it. So Brawly would then decide to tell Ash and Charmander to do physical training together. So basically, Ash and Charmander would begin doing endurance training to make Charmander fitter and stronger. They'll be doing like press-ups or push-ups, whatever you like to call it, sit-ups, jogs, and shadow boxing to practice its boxing moves. Its punching type moves. And after a while, Charmander will be able to successfully perform Dynamic Punch. After that, Ash will come back into the pewter gym, more confident than ever, I would say. Alright, I'm ready to win and get the gym badge. This would impress Flint. And then Flint would decide to decide to battle Ash and say, alright, let's hope this training was enough. And then this would be a very, very hard and close battle with Charmander using flamethrowers and dynamic punches to get the jump on Golem and really hurt it. But after a while, when both Pokemon were tired, Charmander, especially when its flame was going out since it was very tired, it would begin to glow and it would evolve into Charmeleon. And then, after a bit more of a while of a trade of moves like flamethrowers and earthquakes, both Pokemon will be tired enough, and then there will be a clash between a rollout and a dynamic punch. And in the end, when the dust settled, Golem was down and Charmander was standing. After this, Flint would have given Ash his first ever gym badge. I would say, wow, you deserve that title of being a champion. You are quite a strong trainer. And now, so you want to go to the next gym, right? I should say, yeah. It's Cerulean City. So go this direction. And then, yeah. They will quickly make their way to Cerulean City, where they would see in the gym Misty and her sisters arguing about basically who's the gym leader. Since basically, during the time Ash was travelling in Hoenn, Misty went on her own mini adventure. And then, when she came home, her sisters had gotten bored of being gym leaders and just wanted to do it part-time, and Misty did most of the work. But after a bit, they decided that they wanted to be gym leaders again, and they were arguing with Misty on who's going to now be the gym leader. This would serve to annoy Ash, and he would say, "Alright, who's gonna battle me? I'm not gonna stand here watching four girls complaining about who's the gym leader." This would immediately catch Misty's attention. He would say, Hey, I'm the Cerulean City gym leader. How dare you have the nerve to talk to me like that?" And then the three sisters would say, "Hey, we're the real gym leaders." And the four would continue bickering. And then Ash and Brawley in unison would say, "Come on, guys. Ash is just here for a gym battle. Just let him battle." And then the four would just calm down for once. And then they would decide to let him. And then they would decide that Misty's the real gym leader. And then Misty would say, "Alright, sorry for the inconvenience. Now, let's commence with the battle." Ash would use Beedrill and Misty would use Tayu. Beedrill would easily defeat Tayu, but Tayu would use a confusion before it went down, which would do a lot of damage to Beedrill. After that, Misty would send in her Starmie. This would be an even battle since both Pokemon had type advantages against each other. Pin missiles and psychics were traded all over that battlefield. Then, Psychic would prove to be the better move and would turn Pin Missile on Beedrill, which would knock out Beedrill. After that, Ash would decide to use his Pidgey to get some more experience. Pidgey would be able to defeat Starmie since it was weakened from earlier. But right before landing the finishing move, it would evolve into Pidgeot from the experience it had gained from battling Starmie, and it would land the finishing blow. After that, Miss would say, "Alright, it's time for my trump card, the Pokemon that I tamed to become a true gym leader," and she would send out her Gyarados. This would be long before Gyarados got Mega Evolution, bear in mind, so this will be a fair battle, not a Gyarados sweep, remember. So, then, Gyarados and Pidgeotto would be pulled into an intense battle. Gyarados would clearly be the stronger Pokemon, but Pidgeot would be far faster and agile. I would be able to get more moves off. So this would be a fairly even battle. In the end, when Gyarados used a Hydro Pump, Pidgeotto would charge him with a double edge, knocking out Gyarados, giving Ash the gym badge. But Pidgeotto would fall from the recoil damage and the pure exhaustion. But Misty would still say, "You've won this battle and you've earned the badge." I would give Ash the gym badge. After that, Ash and Brawley would come across AJ's gym. Ash would say, "Oh really, you're undefeated. Let's see how strong you are." And he would say, "Since you're undefeated, I'm going to use my strongest Pokemon against that fabled Sandshrew who beats everybody." And he would send out Aggron. Aggron would battle against Sandshrew, and this battle wouldn't even be close. The more experienced Aggron, with just one Iron Tail, would defeat Sandshrew. Ash would then notice the way that AJ treats his Pokemon, and Ash would then say, if you truly want to become a champion and be strong, you need to stop treating your Pokemon as basically tools for battle and to achieve your goals together. I can see that at heart you care about your Pokemon, but I think you should give them a bit more love. because when when a Pokemon and a trainer truly work together, anything is possible in a battle with the Pokemon and trainer duo. AJ would understand this and would then stop treating his Pokemon harshly. After that, Ash and Brawly would make their way to Vermilion City. Ash would then hear of Surge's gym, saying that he's a brutal Pokemon trainer who defeats all of his challengers with one Thunderbolt with his Raichu. Ash would then make his way into the gym, where he would battle Surge and Raichu with his Charmeleon. He would use Charmeleon since it was his second strongest Pokemon on the team. There would be a clash between flamethrowers and thunderbolts and thundershocks and fire spins all over the battlefield. But then there would be a clash between Mega Punch and Dynamic Punch. The explosion would confuse Raichu, and then Charmeleon would charge in with a slash, which would do a lot of damage to Raichu. Raichu would then snap out of the confusion and would shock Charmeleon with an intense thunderbolt, which would do a lot of damage. But then there would be a clash between the thunderbolt and the flamethrower, and the fire type starter would prove to be the stronger Pokemon, winning Ash the battle and the badge. Surge would then say, "Wow, you really do deserve your status as a champion of Hoenn. If you're strong enough to beat me with just one Pokemon and without taking as much damage as the other trainers who were good and came from other places, you are truly a strong trainer." And Ash would thank Surge for the compliment and would take the badge. After that, they would go on the SS Anne, and Ash would say that he had been on a similar ship once before. He would tell Brawly that they'd been on a similar ship before. Brawly would say, "Yeah." They would explore the area, meeting a few familiar faces that they met, and then they would see the gentleman. Last time the gentleman wasn't on the ship, but he would challenge Ash to a battle. And in this timeline, he would use Beedrill instead of Butterfree since he didn't have Butterfree. This would be a very, very easy battle for Beedrill, like it was for Butterfree. And when Beedrill won, when the gentleman tried to suggest a trade, since he wanted to get a Pokemon from a champion this time, Ash would be smart and would know that at the end of the day, what really matters is the bond of your Pokemon, and you shouldn't give them away to other trainers. If only real Pokemon games work like that. Anyway, so basically, Ash would have learned this long time ago when he tried to release Aaron to its family, but Aaron decided that it wanted to travel with Ash. So basically, Ash would politely refuse the offer, and this time they would get off the SS Anne on time, since there was no gentleman to trade with. After that, they would arrive in Saffron, where Ash and Bonnie would make their way to the gym, and they would notice all the psychics around. They would talk about how strong Sabrina is and blah blah blah, which would intrigue Ash. Ash would then see Sabrina and would challenge her to a battle. She would say, "This will be a one-on-one between Abra and your Pokemon. So basically, Sabrina would send out her Abra, meanwhile Ash would send out his Beedrill. The battle would be very even, with Abra's psychic abilities teleporting it everywhere and anywhere. But pin missiles would begin to hit Abra, pin missiles and twin needles, which would do a lot of damage. This would then cause a turned out Abra to glow and evolve into Kadabra. Kadabra would begin slamming around Beedrill with ease with its psychic type powers. But then, when Beedrill would launch a pin missile, when Kadabra avoided the attack, the pin missile would hit the ceiling, which would cause rubble to fall all over the battlefield, which would momentarily break the focus between the two psychic beings, which would allow a few pin missiles to hit Kadabra, and with its low physical defense, it would fall, giving Ash the gym badge. After that, Ash would encounter Mankey, and he would catch it as a Mankey, and he would enter the Grand Prix. The boxers Grand Prix, whatever it was called. Just a fighting tournament, yeah. And nothing much would change, but when Ash went up against a champ, usually in a lot of other what if scenarios, this would be the end of the line for Mankey. But in my scenario, Mankey would evolve into Primeape. I would defeat Machamp. After that, Ash would face Anthony. Anthony would be very strong with his Hitmonchan. Would be giving Primeape a very good fight, even though most people would say that Hitmonchan would win, it's more experience, blah blah blah. Mankey had been shown to defeat a whole bunch of Pokemon with ease, which would otherwise be stronger than it, and also it wasn't really affected by Team Rocket's cheating and stuff like that, you know. Meanwhile, Anthony was affected a lot. So basically, I think that Mankey would still win this tournament thing and would beat Hitmonchan this time. And Ash would win with Primeape. Anthony would try to convince Ash to let him train it and become a real champion. But this time, Ash would be smart enough to know that the bonds between him and Primeape is what really matters. I would not give away such a powerful Pokemon to a random stranger. When Ash and Brawny made it to Celadon City, they would find Erica there, and Ash would state his opinions on perfume like in the original. Making Ash be born in Hoenn and travel around multiple regions and become a champion won't just change him just like that. So, he's still going to be somebody who doesn't like perfume. So basically, these ladies would would be angry at Ash. But in this timeline, since Ash isn't travelling around with a simp, who simps for Warren all the time, Brawny would stand by his friend and defend him, unlike Brock. And then, both of them would be kicked out of the gym by Erica and her team of girls. Realizing that there was no other way to get inside the gym, since there was no Team Rocket to sneak them in, Ash and Brawny would decide that they were going to use the Pokemon that can fly to get inside the gym, and they would sneak inside. Ash would use Pidgeotto, while Brawny would use Beedrill. They would quickly make it inside the gym. I would say, you're not going to you're not gonna stop, and I should say, you're not gonna stop me from becoming a Pokemon master and challenging the Indigo League. And then Eric would say, well, since you're in here, I'm not gonna throw you out for an opinion, so I guess it's time for you to battle me. Erica would battle Pidgeotto with her Tangela, or Tangela, whatever. And basically, it would easily defeat. Pidgeotto would easily defeat Tangela, and it would easily defeat all the other guys. Yeah. So basically, that's it. That's part one of Kanto. What if Ash was born in Hoenn? I'll see you.